Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another webinar of How About Some Marketing. Thank you so much for being present and watching this session. As we are already accustomed, every last Thursday of each month, 7 p.m. EST, we have a live webinar where we bring a special guest that shares valuable information for your business to grow. A little bit about How About Some Marketing is a project I started a few years back. My name is Emmanuel. I'm an SEO and digital marketing consultant. I like to help small to medium-sized businesses on their way to becoming big businesses. And I've created How About Some Marketing with the idea of helping businesses through education, coaching, and mindset reframing. I would like to think that How About Marketing is the go-to hub for straightforward, no-nonsense marketing guidance, and that we're focused on clear, actionable strategies and resources designed for the everyday needs of small to medium-sized businesses. No jargon, no overly complicated tactics, just effective marketing insights that you can apply directly to your business for real results. And yes, I was actually reading that. I haven't yet memorized it as I like to think. Now, today's topic is one of the most anticipated topics I've been actually waiting to host. Although not exactly the uh, this not the topic, it's not falling under the marketing category necessarily. Yet again, it's extremely important for any kind of business, and a simple click or a simple wrong click can break your business, and then you'll never be able to recover. We're going to learn what we can do to prevent this, what are some best practices from our guest today. Before I introduce our guest and pass along the virtual microphone and the spotlight to Christy, I just want to make a request. If you are live or if you're watching this and you are not yet subscribed, go to howaboutsommarketing.com and sign up for the newsletter, because that's the number one resource where I share upcoming events, previous recordings, and different marketing information that will help you grow your business exponentially. That being said, in today's topic, it's my pleasure and privilege to have Cristian Bucur as a guest tonight. Now, I'm going to do the reading again from my presentation, and I'm going to talk about cybersecurity, and let make a brief introduction to Christy, but I'll also ask him to share some more information about him that was not included here. So Christy holds an electrical engineering diploma from the University of Ottawa, Canada, and a master in information security from Lulea University of Technology. Did I say that one right,
Lulea,
Christy?
yeah, that's
Lulea.
good. That's good.
He works as an enterprise architect in Montreal, and he's also a member of the Engineering Association of Quebec, Ordre des ingénieurs du Québec. Did I say that right? I hope so.
Yeah, more or less, okay. Let's say.
More or less. A cybersecurity passionate, Christy is a Ph.D. student at Polytechnique of Montreal in the area of IoT, Internet of Things, security, and is working on his dissertation. That being said, thank you so much, Christy, for agreeing to be the guest for today's topic. And I'm going to pass along the virtual microphone, and I'm going to mute myself, not before reminding our audience here that at the bottom right, we have a few tabs over there, chat option, where you can actually uh, interact and ask questions. We have a poll, we have a Q&A where you can actually ask an anonymous question, and some other options, transcript and takeaways as well, where you can make notes. So that's a reminder that if you see something or want to express something, please use those options. That being said, Christy.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Hello from Montreal. And I'm happy to talk about cybersecurity because, as Emmanuel said, I'm a passionate of cybersecurity, and also is a very, very vast, let's say, topic. And but we're going to try to cover here a little bit of, and I'm going to share my screen meanwhile, a little bit of, what's important, or when I say a little bit, it's, it's just a little bit. I'm not sure if you can see my screen though. Can you see my screen?
We can see the presentation, cybersecurity for your business.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you. So, cybersecurity for your business. It's well known that even though this is not marketing, and this is, even we can say that the return of investment is not obvious for cybersecurity for a lot of companies, but this is crucial for your data security and for your business continuity to have a good and to take care of this aspect of your business. And by the way, if you have any questions, even during my presentation, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm not sure how that works though, but I think, Emmanuel, I'm going to rely on you to let me know, right?
After each slide, I'm going to let you know if there's a question.
Okay. So the obvious question, why do we need cybersecurity? Well, the main goal of cybersecurity is to protect your business, right? Because this is very important, protect your business, your data, your everything, right? Your computers, your network. There are many potential threats from outside, but also from inside. And even though maybe you can think that for a small company, right, we don't have a lot of employees, but still, the internal threat is very important. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm not sure if you are familiar with Desjardins. This is a bank here in Canada, and especially from Quebec, right? But I think they have some business in Ontario as well. A couple of years ago, what happened? Some internal consultant stole all the data, all the accounts, and it shared them on the dark web. Okay, so that means that's an obvious internal threat, and it could happen that someone who even someone who was fired, or someone who needs money, who wants to sell lists of accounts or people can do that, and steal the whole data and share it on the dark web, for example. A cybersecurity incident can be extremely expensive even for a small business. Imagine that you're a lawyer and you lose all your data. Your data will be encrypted by a ransomware. Ransomware is a virus which will encrypt by clicking on a link. And I'm going to show you a little bit later. You can get a virus, and all your data can be encrypted. So it's going to be, if you want to have the key back to encrypt your data, it's going to cost you some money, right? And small businesses, yes, are also targets. Not only big companies, but like big businesses, but also small businesses are targets for hackers. I'm going to show you some stats that I got yesterday from cybersecurity. It's from Canada, okay? 91% of respondents indicated confidence in their IT team when it comes to security for companies that they have IT teams. See here, 33% very confident, 59% somewhat, 7% not very confident, well, and 1% not confident at all. And something more interesting, sources of computer security threats, 40% malicious internal resource. So we're talking about this. 29% external, unrelated to your company. 24% involuntary internal resource, which means people who are not, they made a mistake, for example. clicking on a link in an email, and 3% partners, providers, or even clients. Okay, now companies have implemented at least one measure to protect themselves against data breaches. Okay, 44% malware protection, 37% backup management, 35% advanced email protection, 34% data encryption. 24% of successful attacks or breaches were estimated to have costed more than $500,000. And the source here is this one, IT Canadian 2024 report, Novico, and again. Now, let's talk a little bit about, by the way, any questions? Do you guys have any questions?
No question at the moment.
No questions, right? Common cybersecurity threats, the phishing attacks. What is a phishing attack? It's an email or a text message that try to trick you into clicking on a malicious link or opening an attachment. I think we all receive emails and text messages all the time, and even very, very legit emails. You can be very you can be tricked by those. You know, even if you are a cybersecurity expert, sometimes you have to pay attention and you have to check and see what's going on. The malware. What is a malware? Malicious software that can damage your computer system or steal your data. And you can get it through links, you can get it through emails, you can get it even by clicking on a picture, for example. Ransomware, this is pretty bad. The type of malware that encrypts your data and demands a ransom payment to decrypt it. So you will receive a phishing email. If, for example, by mistake you click, well, then you're gonna get the virus on your ransomware on your machine, and then you're gonna start to encrypt your data. Once your data is encrypted, you won't be able to access it, which means you will have either to pay the ransom, okay, or what you could do, if you have a pretty good backup, you could, restore your database and your data, okay. But well, that's a thing that you should think about it, before the incident happened. And the DOS, denial of service attacks that flood your website or network with traffic, which means let's say you have 100,000, 1 million requests from different IP addresses, right? And then your server will give up, and you're gonna lose your email, your website. So, how to protect your data? There are many ways to protect your data, but let's say I choose like 3 of them here. Regularly back up your data to a secure location. It could be in the cloud. It could be even on a server, internal server. But that's, again, you need to make sure that, for example, you disconnect these, because if you get a ransomware, the ransomware will go and encrypt your backup as well. Or even we can have external hard drives, but again, you need to take them off after you do your backup once a day, or it could be at the end of the day, especially if you have confidential data, which means you have patients, you're in the business of the health business, or lawyers, you're an accountant, you need to back up for sure your data. So 2 types of data backups: full backups and incremental backups. What does it mean? The full backup, you do it from scratch. I mean, every time you're gonna back up everything. The incremental one, it means that you will keep whatever has been already backed up. let's say yesterday, and the system will back up only your today's data, which is more interesting because it's faster, right? Uh, Full backup of your data. Well, okay, that's what I just said. Okay, and I have prepared a small use case. A physiotherapy clinic. Okay, we suppose we have that. Let's have an exercise of imagination, and a small physiotherapy clinic with 5 employees use EMR, electronic medical record, or EIHR to manage patients' information. The EPR system stores sensitive data such as names, addresses, diagnosis, and treatment plans. What steps need this company to take in order to protect its data? First, strong passwords and MFA, multi-factor authentication. I think you know what multi-factor authentication is, right? That's whenever you will try to log in into a let's say website, or let's say you want to log in your bank account. So you will receive either an email, or after you do the first factor, let's say, you will receive either an email or a text message on your phone to confirm that they will send you a code. And this is the second factor. The code will be written in a box, and then you will receive access. That's very important because not only strong passwords are important, but also the MFA will make sure that you have a better protection than just one factor authentication, which is a password. Enforce a policy requiring employees to use strong, unique passwords for all accounts, exceeding 12 characters with a mix of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. It's very important to have very good passwords, more than 12 characters. Why more than 12 characters? Because the time for 12 characters is pretty long, okay? So it's going to take a lot to a hacker to try to guess your password. Of course, you have the unique account. You have to have unique accounts for all your employees because you don't. It's a very bad practice to share accounts. I know it happens sometimes, but it's very dangerous because you don't know. There is no accountability. You don't know who does what. Implement MFA for all logins to the EPRs, especially in the health business, adding an extra layer of security beyond just a password. This could involve a code sent via text message or a security token. You can have a security token, which means a token is a device which generates codes every 30 seconds. And then the system will ask you to write that code into the box, and the system will validate if the code is right. So the password generator or the token will be synchronized with your server. Software updates and security software. Ensure all devices used at the clinic, even say you have only 5 devices, 5 computers. Computers, tablets, smartphones have the latest operating system and software updates installed. These updates often include security patches that fix vulnerabilities. There are a lot of vulnerabilities, so you need to make sure that we cannot cover all, but the most dangerous ones should be covered. Install and maintain reputable antivirus and anti-malware software on all devices to detect and prevent malicious software infections. So, of course, you have to have some tools to protect yourself. And data backups and encryption. Regularly backup patient data to secure off-site location. In case anything happens, it's burning down your location, it could happen. You have the backup of your patients. Cloud storage with strong encryption. In case of cyber attacks, hardware failure, or even physical attack, you are protected. Consider encrypting patient data at rest and in transit. Encryption scrambles the data, making it unreadable, even if intercepted by a cybercriminal, which means when you send emails, for example, with confidential data, you need to make sure that those emails are encrypted. You don't send. I know it happens, but I mean, let's say it's a bad practice to do that because some type of attack, which is called man in the middle, could intercept your email and then copy the information from your email. Employee training. Train all employees on cybersecurity best practices, including identifying phishing emails, creating strong passwords, and avoiding suspicious links and attachments. And educate them about the importance of data privacy and patient confidentiality. That's well known that in the health business, you need to make sure that all your information is still confidential. You should have also an incident response plan. In case of an attack or in case of anything happens, you don't panic, okay? You just take your plan and say, okay, let's proceed to the steps that I have in my plan. To take in case of anything, data breaches, and notifying patients, you need to notify patients and some other partners that you had a breach of security breach. Law enforcement, you can notify also the police, and there is a Canadian Center of Cybersecurity. You notify these people as well, and even the RCMP, right? Now, there is are there any questions? Anything?
Actually, there is, and I have a few myself. I guess the one that's currently live is what's the best way to share a password? And you can answer this right now or at the end if you
can. No, we can go. You mean you want to share a password?
Yes.
May I ask you why would you like to share a password? I mean, it's not a best practice to share your passwords, okay? We usually don't do that.
And if I need to share, let's say an account, I'm using.
If you need to share, well, probably the best practice would be to share it on a piece of paper. Honestly, I wouldn't share a password through an email. Okay. What you could do, you could share a password using a text message. Okay, because let's say the text message is more protected than an email. However, there are ways, of course, to intercept those, but it's more difficult. Okay. Now, you could use an encrypted email to share your password. For example, there is an option in Office 365 for Outlook that it's a very confidential information, so the receiver won't be able to print it or to share it, to forward to somebody else. But you need for sure, you need to do use some encryption. You need to, or a piece of paper, and you give the person, or even by phone, okay, by words, That would be also another option, but I wouldn't do it through a regular email or no.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Christian. I personally have a few more questions, but I'm going to leave it for the end. And I remind everyone present here that if you have any
Okay.
questions, please drop them in the chat, or you want to ask something very specific, feel free to do so.
Let's talk a little bit about best practices for cybersecurity. Again, implement a strong password policy. That require employees to use multi-factor authentication, secure your Wi-Fi network. That's there are tools that could crack your network, the Wi-Fi, and once it is done, well, the hacker can have access to all your machines, all your information, can steal a lot of stuff. So you need to make sure that your Wi-Fi network is pretty secure. Install and keep antivirus and anti-malware software up to date. Educate your employees about cybersecurity threats and best practices. Regularly back up your data and store it off-site, and have an incident plan in case of a cyber attack. I understand that, for example, for a business, the health business, this is a little bit of, okay, I'm not an IT company. What I cannot, I can't do that, or I don't have time for that. But there are solutions for that. Now, we're not only talking about best practices, but we also can talk about some bills, some regulations that, as a company, you need to be aware of, and you need to comply. So, I think you heard about the bill C-27, and that's a federal bill that proposed 3 new pieces of legislation. Consumer Privacy Protection Act will give Canadians more control over how their personal information is collected, used, and disclosed by organizations. Personal Information and Data Protection Tribunal Act. This act would establish a new tribunal to hear and decide on matters related to access and the collection of personal information. Artificial Intelligence and Data Act that would set out rules for the development, use, and oversight of artificial intelligence systems in Canada. I'm not going to talk about artificial intelligence, although there is a lot of implication of AI in the area of cybersecurity. But I choose not to talk about it because I think it's a huge topic. And but remember that this bill did not pass. Okay, did not pass, and it's not longer under consideration in its current form. But this doesn't mean that it's not gonna take another form, and they will eventually pass. So what I mean by that is not only we need to be aware of the best practices, but we need to understand that the government will force us to, and in Europe we only have the GDPR, which is a piece of legislation is very, very tough related to the data. So and US European Union citizens, then if you don't comply, they can fine you like millions of dollars, and euros actually. And the Bill 25 in Quebec, la loi 25, which is in place, and it's not like in like the federal case, but here the la loi 25 exists, and if you want to do business in Quebec, you need to comply to the Bill 25. It introduces new requirements for organizations that handle personal information of Quebec residents. And it's a little bit inspired by if you wish, by GDPR, by the GDPR. So they took a lot of information from the GDPR. So these requirements include increased security measures. Organizations are obligated to implement appropriate safeguards to protect personal information from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, or loss. So you need to do that. They will, and in case of a breach, they will ask you to prove your how did you protect your data. Enhanced transparency. Organizations must be more transparent about how they collect, use, and disclose personal information. So personal information in the sense of La Loi 25 is your name, your address. I'm not talking about your social insurance number or credit card. That's by default. But anything, even your personal email, is treated as confidential information. And you, as a company in Quebec or outside Quebec, but a company which would be interested to do business in Quebec, you need to comply. Data breach notification. Organizations must report data breaches to the authorities and affected individuals. So you are obliged to notify government or the special entity in case of a breach. And this is true not only in Quebec, but this is even true in the States. Some companies don't do it fast enough. Some companies don't do it at all. But it's not legal. So big companies they will say, oh, okay, I'm going to wait for a couple of months because the involvement of this it could be very, very expensive, especially for NASDAQ, for example, companies, or the New York stocks. Okay. Stronger consent. Individuals have greater control over their personal information and can withdraw consent at any time. For example, if they tell you, okay, you know what, I don't want to receive your letter anymore, anything from you, you need to comply. Designation of a privacy officer. Businesses may need to designate the person responsible for overseeing compliance with the law. They need to have someone accountable in case of anything happens. In conclusion, by following the best practices outlined in this presentation, you can help to keep your business safe from cybersecurity, from cyber attacks. Now, when I'm saying safe, it doesn't mean you're 100% protected. There is not such thing. You won't be 100% protected, but we're talking about risk mitigation. We're talking about how much risk as a business we would like to take, and what is the tolerance to a risk. Imagine it in case of a data breach, and especially when in this case of health, law, accounting, and for anything. Well, how much risk are we willing to take? And that's the question you need to ask yourself before establishing a plan or some kind of strategy. Cybersecurity is an ongoing process, but by taking steps to protect your business, you can reduce your risk of a cyber attack. And you're not an IT company, of course, but you can contact professional companies in order to help you, right? Because I think it's essential for a business, especially in today's world. Thank you very much. This is that completes my presentation. Now, if you have any questions, I think Emmanuel has A couple
Thank
of
you so much.
questions I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you so much, Christy. Thank you so much. And I hope everybody that's watching this live or recorded has a solid understanding of the best practices in when it comes to secure the data that's available online, and not just online. I can't stress enough how important this is, how many of the best practices are not respected at all in many companies, like having a single password for many logins, or some other more easy to reach information. Now, I remind the guests, our audience, to, if they have any questions, to drop them here. But I do have a few questions of my own. You mentioned in one of the first slides about the DDoS attacks. What's the main reason why somebody would want to do that, for example?
Well, there are many reasons. One reason we have a couple of categories of hackers, right? You have the hackers who are looking for financial. Um, they want to make money. Okay, it's like a job, and then they attack especially small businesses because they know they're not well protected. And this is the main reason. So I know that if you're a small business and you won't invest, statistically speaking, you will not invest a lot of money in your cybersecurity to protect yourself. So then you can be easily hacked. Now you also have the state-owned actors. We are in the middle of a cyber war, and I think we all know that, right? So there are companies, well, they're not companies, but they're groups of hackers sponsored by governments. They do that, right? They attack anything. They could attack even small companies, but they attack mainly government-owned companies, the public utilities, and stuff like that. It doesn't mean that they could hack even in companies because it's not for the money, but they want to attack to disturb the society, right? Uh, so that's I don't think we are safe, even if we are a small company. We will in our days, the world, we're not safe. You shouldn't ask yourself if. You should ask yourself when. It's gonna come, okay? And unfortunately, I think
This
there
is a
is a
nice,
question here on the chat.
yeah, this is actually a nice segue of one of our guests that has put in the chat, and I'm gonna read it out loud because people who are
Okay.
watching the recording might not see it. So, one of our guests says, "My Facebook account was hacked, and I reported it, and it was shut down. But now, in order to get it back, they want my passport, which doesn't feel safe. Besides, in order to be secure, in case being hacked, I never use my legal name and a birthday with Facebook. It's amazing how much this one thing has negatively affected my business. Any ideas on how I could get this back, or any insights?" Excellent comment. Christy.
Yeah, it's a tough question because first of all, you didn't use your real name, okay? Uh, Honestly, when you say they who is they want, you mean Facebook? They want to have your passport. Honestly, me, I wouldn't give them any passport at all. I mean, this is confidential information. You don't share that, okay? Yeah, they equals Facebook. Okay, so honestly, no. And even though you say you're going to share your a copy of your passport, it's not under your name, your real name, the account. So in this case, you know what I would do? I would create another account because it's going to be very hard to get the old one. Okay, unless the hacker. But would you have any idea why you've been hacked? I'm just asking you this. See, why they have hacked you? I mean, it's just no idea. Okay, you know, that my solution to that, if you want to, I don't see if you lost well, you have a backup via email, right? Whenever you try to whenever you try to log in, you have an option saying that, okay, can you give me my password, or can you help me to retrieve my password? They hacked your email as well, or what happened, or they change it. Well, that's what it happens. Okay, they get control of your account. They change your say backup account email address, and then you lose control completely on yeah, and the fund. So unfortunately, there isn't much you can do. Even Facebook, they're not very friendly, though. I mean, they will not. They're not. They want to, and it's understandable. So in your case, I would honestly create an account.
Another question I had here on my list was how many small businesses have an incident response plan? This is from one of your slides as well.
Well, honestly, I don't know. But my feeling, I could tell you that I saw some stats from Quebec, okay, and the it's the situation is not very. Um, we don't have a happy or let's say a positive outline of this. No, I don't think many small businesses they actually have this
The reason
incident plan.
I highlighted this is because I deal with many businesses, not necessarily small. I deal with some medium and big businesses as well, but especially small businesses that we try to help with how about marketing. Uh, they're the most vulnerable in many aspects, including this one as well. And at the end of the day, this is not something that's really hard to do, or it's simply sitting together with a few employees, look at the best practices, and of course ideally consult with your IT specialist, because every business should have one, not a full-time employer, but be under contract with a company or somebody dedicated that are actually trained, and not just a nephew that knows how to install an operating system, but actually somebody who's certified, who can give you the best advice and best guidance. And of course, as you mentioned, Chris, it's not about if, it's about when. When stuff goes down, as the Americans say, how to respond to that, because response is also very important, and actually it can save your business. There's the biggest
Absolutely.
companies on the planet have been hacked, have been penetrated, right? With the best, the top cybersecurity experts for hire, and they still got penetrated. So that's inevitably. But how do you respond? And have you taken the best practices? That's the question, and that's what I'm trying to highlight, and that's why I asked Christy to host this webinar to present these basic concepts to create and raise awareness, because things won't move back. Things will evolve into potentially more dangerous stuff. We're already sharing the information. We're not talking right now just about messages, but we're sharing private information like medical records, financial information, transactions, real estate, all those things, right? So things will become even more. Think about in a few years how we will connect our brains through a device that's connected to the entire web. And that's probably the biggest threat ever. If somebody can actually hack and reverse engineer that device and make you do things through that device, it's my opinion, it's totally possible. I'm by no means an expert. I'm just throwing up some scenarios. And actually, that's a good question, Christy. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, we are hackers are already using artificial intelligence to hack systems and to trick people because you can use the so-called LLMs, large language models, such as ChatGPT, Gemini, and there are a lot now. They have a lot of Mistral and a lot of systems like that. They can use them to write emails, very good and very legit emails, in order to treat people. Okay. Now, some of them, some cybersecurity researchers, they even tricked the LLM systems to give them information about how to hack a system. Because if you try to do it, you ask, let's say, Gemini, hey, just tell me how can I hack a system. The program will answer no. Well, I cannot do that. Okay. I'm I'm not able to give you this information. But some researchers, they kind of tricked the system and they got information. Now, talking about what you were saying, well, then of course, we're gonna have quantum computers, which means all our encryption algorithms will get down, because with a quantum computer you can crack very fast all the algorithms, encryption algorithms we have today, even for tokens or in minutes. We're talking about minutes here. So our job as a cybersecurity would be to find new algorithms, a new way to encrypt data. Okay. Intercepting, man in the middle, we call that the communication between a device and your brain or something. Yeah, it's very possible. And I think it will, eventually be there in a couple of years.
We have another good question on the chat that I'm going to read it out loud from the same guest. What do you think of companies that asks for voice prints for security? But now AI can so easily copy a voice. Is it safe to use voice recognitions for security? And right here, I'm going to highlight banks that actually use this technology. That's a very good question.
Yeah, I think no, it's not safe anymore, because it's true. You can now, you have the multimodal. You call it multimodal LLMs, which means there you can ask even images, you can sound and text, because the first ChatGPT you can only type questions and only text, right? But now the multimodal will take care of everything if you wish. So no, it's not. I don't think it's safe. And in my opinion, banks will change that, because you can trick the system. Especially the system is not very accurate, I would say. When sometimes even fingerprinting. I don't know if you ever did that with your finger, like wet finger, to try to unlock your device. It doesn't work very well, right? So that's the same thing with the voice, especially by phone. The phone is trying. Well, when you communicate through the phone, you don't have all the frequencies. So actually, they sample your voice, okay, which means you don't have all the frequencies, and so it's not very accurate. Right? That's what I mean.
And we have another great comment, which I'm going to again read out loud. Chris, you're going to read it also to prepare an answer. This is such an informative session. Thank you so much. I was thinking about it a few days ago, how with the new Neuralink, so that's the device from a certain individual called Elon Musk, how the Neuralink can create problems. If you are trying to extract a brain to a Neuralink, people can hack and kidnap you. Technically, because your brain is you. It also sucks. Small businesses don't have support, and the economy is made out of the thieves, because and thrives because of small businesses. Yeah, the economy thrives about from small businesses. Yeah, that's true. So, what are your comments, Christy?
Well, yeah, it's more like when I read that, it sounds to me that's science fiction, right? But it's not science fiction anymore. I mean, they can hack your brain, maybe. I think I read somewhere that, for example, Elon Musk and the other guy from from Facebook, okay,
Mark
Zuckerberg,
Zuckerberg.
right? What they wanna actually upload their brain in a cloud, in and this way they will be able to live forever in a way, because yeah, you're right. What is you? It might be especially your brain. So if you imagine, if you upload your brain in a system, in a computer system. There was actually a movie, I think, many years
Very
ago.
that, yeah.
Okay,
Morgan
I,
Freeman.
I forgot the name, but yeah, you can think about anything. However, what I would like to share with you, I went to some conferences related to artificial intelligence, and there is a problem there. There is a guy in here in Montreal. His name is Yoshua Benjo, one of the best AI experts in the world. Okay, and he was saying that, yeah, artificial intelligence is good, but it's not. We're not on the right track with that. Why? Because there is no causality, and this is probably they will, you will start to think about it, and as I did in an LLM system and a generative AI, there is no such thing as causality, which means the system does not know, as we as humans, we know we have the whole, causality was you have a system. Remember, I'm an engineer, okay? You have a system, and if you let's say you go from the point A to the point B, you go through many states, okay? There is a cut, so you got to the point B because actually you moved from the point A through points, a lot of points. um, this artificial intelligence system, and these systems, they don't have this type of thinking. Okay, they only give you the first of all, statistics. They do that statistically, and then they give you like a picture right now. Okay, it's a screenshot, but they don't know what happened. They don't understand why. They don't care. They're machines, right? Uh, so there is no such thing yet. The moment AI system will do it, will understand causality, that would be pretty bad for us.
Game
Okay.
changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent answer. Thank you, Christian. One note before we wrap up: if they upload my brain to the cloud, that's a system malfunction
Exactly.
for sure. Before we leave it up, would you care to share one of the wildest stories you heard or experienced yourself? Let's say from a hack or some well-known. You mentioned Desjardins, I think, in
Yeah.
but something
You know,
more
and
recent, perhaps.
yeah, I actually, I'm teaching a class, a cybersecurity class, to the SUNY University in Plattsburgh, State University of New York, and I gave my students this task. There was a homework to prepare presentations. There is a big company in Switzerland. Actually, what they do, they make cards for hotels doors. Okay, you can, but there is only, I think that's the only one in the world, or maybe there are not so many. So, which means there was a conference in the States, and a bunch of hackers came. I think they were like more white hackers, not, and they said, okay, you know what, let's have some fun. And what they hacked, they cloned one card. Okay, they cloned hotel cards. And with that, they could open all the doors. And not only in that hotel, but everywhere. Okay. They could use that card. They actually, it's like you can buy them online, like blank ones. Okay. And this is what the company did. They actually kind of improved their system, because it's crazy. You can do that, and you can imagine you can steal from from the rooms, right? I can enter into your room, and then hey, that's it. I can steal it. I think that was one of the funniest presentations, and pretty interesting, right?
Any last comments, Christy, before we wrap up?
Well, the comments that I could tell you, protect your data. It's very important, and if you need help, you have a lot of choices. Companies, they could help you, and they could give you a good service.
If somebody
Thank
wants
you.
to
That's it.
if somebody wants to reach out to you, Christy, what's the best way to do so?
LinkedIn. I think you actually you published my LinkedIn address, and yeah, you can get in touch with me. No
And
problem.
I'll make sure this will be featured in the description of the YouTube videos and all the other platforms that we have. That being said, Christy, thank you so much for agreeing to be a guest and host this session. It was an excellent session, as I wanted to be, and as all the others have been so far. Thank you for everyone who attended this live event, and thank you for those who are watching. If you haven't done so, please go to howaboutsommarketing.com and subscribe to the newsletter, because we are growing right now, we are expanding, and you are part of our and your success as well. Thank you so much. See you next time, last Thursday of next month.
Thank you.